Hello everyone, my name is Annie Ulrich and I am one of 3 members of the New Works Festival Applications Committee, and we are so happy to welcome you to this year's Go Grant celebration. Before we get started, just want to plug, the applications for the 2021 festival are now live. If you didn't get the email with the link to the applications form, you can find it on the New Works Festival social media handles, or you can reach out directly to myself, Sam Mayer, or Ana Skiris Vargas, and we would be happy to help you with any questions you have through the application process. All right, now sit back and enjoy hearing about the work that happened this summer.
Hi, my name is Gwenny Govea and I received a Go Grant in September of 2020. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you so much for helping me to continue to develop this musical theater project. It has helped tremendously both with Trash the Musical as well as other musicals that I have started to develop because of the software that I was able to purchase with my Go Grant. So I just wanted to thank you so much for that. And without further ado, here is a short collection of vlogs that outline my Go Grant journey. My Go Grant journey started like any other Go Grant journey, with a Go Grant. As soon as I got mine in the mail, I was excited to start working. I'm very excited to start working. I don't know why I said that in a British accent, but I'm really excited to start working. Oh! As soon as I received my grant, I promptly went to Walmart and purchased a hard drive to put song drafts, sheet music, and other developmental items on. Additionally, I purchased music production software and set out to create more music for the show. Can you see it? Yay! All right, ladies, I hope you're ready because we're about to sing with our retainer on. After getting acclimated with the program, I recorded some song demos using my own live instruments and Logic software instruments. After making tweaks to Trash the Musical, I gathered the help of the stage reading cast and my roommates to start recording our very own cast album.
And my life is a trash heap.
That was so good. That was so pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Additionally, I was able to create sheet music for new Trash the Musical songs. So many things were happening. It was both riveting and exhausting. I was making sheet music, and even more sheet music. And even though our guitarist Ben was making a lot more sheet music than I was, it was still quite overwhelming. And then... You're safe, Frank. Back in your tower. I wrote another musical theater song, and then I made sheet music for that musical theater song, and then it turned into a full-blown musical called Spells of the Sea, and it was a children's musical, and I had so many ideas for it. Of like the characters, and then like I don't know, kids could play with the characters while they like watch along to the podcast. And then I had a crisis, because I realized that as much as I loved Trash, I also loved exploring Spells of the Sea. Because of this, I became very conflicted on which project to go forward with for my New Works pitch. I had so many ideas for it.
I don't know. I have so many ideas for this.
I even went so far as to create an Instagram page for it. Life was getting very out of control. The spells of the sea. All of this to say, I'm not exactly sure where these pieces are going from here, but I do know that I am excited to keep on working. All thanks to the Go Grant.
Déjame llorar, déjame llorar, que ya estoy cansada de bailar y bailar. Déjame llorar, que ya estoy cansada de bailar y bailar.
When the corona hit and we went into self-isolation, performance lost its meaning for me. There was hope in registering tears and smiles because it allowed me to think about someone feeling similar. Somehow, in the specificity of my intimacy being registered, there was a reaching out gesture, a connection desire. So that became my Go Grant project. I used my incentive for buying a ring light and a video editing program. And after some good months of adaptation, I'm back.
Hi, my name is Harry Horsley, and I am a second year MFA costume design student at the University of Texas. Um, I'm going to talk to you guys about my Go Grant and what exactly did I do with my Go Grant. So, my Go Grant, I was awarded $150. What I did was I bought a book that was called Hair Story. And the book basically went around, or it was written around the history of African American hair, but not just African American hair. It's hair that was in the Caribbean, along with hair that was in different regions of Africa, that basically made its way over through the transatlantic slave trade, and it's still used today. I mean, it's still used in the hair that my aunts, sisters, cousins, even the hair that I'm wearing right now. Hundreds of years of traditions that have basically been passed down. So with what I wanted to do with the Go Grant was I had an idea for the Cohen New Works Festival. I mean, it still hasn't changed. I just don't know how it's going to happen. I was thinking about making a float based on, you know, protective styles, which is traditionally what black hair is whenever it's like a butterfly cocoon process. To better explain it, like if you want your hair to grow, or if you don't want it to be damaged, or if you don't want any breakage, you usually braid your hair, crochet it different types, or basically, you know, you can also sew it in also for your hair to basically be preserved essentially. But with that comes different hairstyles that have transcended over time, especially from different regions and different cultures and different countries. So with what I wanted to do with Go Grant, I want to talk specifically about protective styles, and what I'm wearing right now is a protective style with my hair, which is like this long lock. Usually people call them dreads, but it's polite to call them locks usually. Over time, you know, words and sayings change, but over what I wanted to do was basically do a float that was inspired by protective styles. So I bought a lot of hair, and I was trying to figure out exactly how was I going to make this this concoction of, like, you know, hair out of a tree. And basically what I call the project was Roots, a love letter to black hair. Because for the longest time, or it's still occurring right now, you can still be fired over your hair. I remember I was at one job where I had to cut my hair off because it wasn't professional. But I was like 20 at the time, and I didn't really know how to deal with that. And it's even happening now, and you really see the same things happening again and again. Matthew Love not Matthew Love, but Matthew Cherry just went to the Oscars, and he won the Oscar for Best Animated Short over Hair Love, which was the story about a dad and a mom and a daughter basically trying to, I would say probably trying to go through troubled waters of cancer. And the mom cuts off her hair, and, you know, the dad is forced to basically learn his daughter's hair textures in her own hair. So specifically why I brought this up is they brought a boy who was fired from his job because of his locks, and they brought him to the Oscars. And basically I found that such an inspiring story, but then again, it still is happening. And even in my field, hair is very much a touchy subject, and for the most part, when you are dealing with hair from different cultures, it is imperative for you to learn about that hair texture and learn about these different cultures. So I think that was the biggest thing that I spent a lot of my money on was hair, because hair is definitely expensive. But I basically tried to learn how hair was woven, along with how I can possibly make this float, or this sculpture piece into a float, and figuring out how much hair I possibly needed for that. But for the most part, yeah, that's what I did with my Go Grant money. And thank you guys for awarding it to me. You know, I'm forever grateful. And yeah, I look forward to hearing to you guys soon. So thank you.
God is not a black woman, and if she were, she wouldn't save you, is a dramatic lecture idealized in response to my personal experiences and reflections in the world as a black woman who is either deemed the lowest of social strata or expected to save everyone when it is convenient for them with my infinite wisdom. I envisioned this work to be particularly prescient as I spent the summer, as most people did, experiencing a reckoning of racial justice issues in unprecedented periods of isolation. Processing the material of my world all by myself while experiencing it in a collective digital realm at greatly punctuated intervals meant my rage was particularly ripe, yet exhausted for addressing these issues in an art form. I recognize the lecture as a particularly taught dramatic form for this work, as it could be so widely broadcasted in a safe way. However, through conversations with my artistic collaborators and diving deeper into the world of online activism as it evolved to its current state, I realized that perhaps a less dramatically normative approach to the content might be just the trick for making the work come to life. The idea vibrated the most over phone conversations, in unsent angry emails, and in occasional posts on social media. Never was my message more clear, while also breaking the boundaries of stereotypes about black women as lecturers, as those with all the wisdom needed to solve racism for everyone else, if only they would just tell it to us. Moving forward with this project for me would mean deeper dives into how curated social media platforms could be used as tools for scripted content. It would mean tracking engagement, internet fights, and the tendency to feel accomplished in the real world by posting into the void of the digital age. The play would reach out through its online presence to random participants, meeting its very subject where it lives.
A few years ago, I was thinking about the Constitution for various reasons. What I would do is resurrect the speech and the contest based on what I remember about myself at 15.
They played this morning, and this is a very, very important play in like modern discourse. I would say one of the most important plays of the 21st century. So my first question to you is, Jeremy O. Harris, why do you hate black women? You said that famously you discovered racism in 2018. What were you doing for the first 25 years of your life?
I didn't say I discovered it like Christopher Columbus discovered America.
Blank Space research has centered around movement generation and how our environments are influencing that movement generated, as well as our current life circumstances. Our physical environment is incredibly present in our lives right now. Being confined to our homes is undoubtedly affecting our bodies. The research we are sharing in this video is exploring the dichotomy of pedestrian spaces and how dance lives within them. We also played around with film and how the visual representation of our movement can amplify and accentuate what we are trying to say, specifically looking at opacity, layering, speed, and color distortion. These film elements resonated with our movement experience. The resulting sound score of our research became incredibly potent as well.
Preview. 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 Preview.
With the funds we received, we purchased technology and subscription services to further our research. We purchased fish islands and mirrors to experiment with visual distortion and how it relates to our sense of self. We also subscribed to the New York Times and Dance Magazine to gather current event perspectives from dancers and non-dancers in wake of the pandemic and social justice movement. While we had informal conversations with other dancers and their experiences dancing in their homes, moving forward, we are expanding this field research to non-dancers and creating a formal data collection process to log our qualitative and quantitative findings. Thank you so much for your support, and we look forward to pitching our project to you in the coming weeks.
Hello, my name's Alexis, Alexis. I have auburn hair and white skin, and I'm wearing glasses and a black sweater. I'm a PhD candidate in the Performance as Public Practice program here at UT, and I am so excited to share with you what I was able to do this summer with a Cohen New Works Festival Go grant. So as an artist, I'm interested in making performances by, for, about, and with disabled people. And I asked for this grant to begin to solve a problem that I think is of the utmost importance to our community. So I am overjoyed and grateful for the recent proliferation of disability stories on our stages. And yet, as a recent article in American Theater Magazine points out, oftentimes the theater is an inaccessible space. This puts us theater makers in the precarious position of creating stories about disabled people that disabled people themselves may not be able to participate in, either as creators or as audience members. And so while I join our community in mourning the loss of the live this year, I also saw an opportunity to use the tools of digital performance making to develop accessible theater. And so with this grant, I was able to begin the process of building a web platform to host short digital plays. Specifically, I was able to purchase an accessibility plugin. So this plugin can change or eliminate specific colors, adjust contrast, change fonts, increase size, bold text, and read text aloud. All features that can help to make short digital plays more accessible to a wider audience with little to no additional work on the part of the production team. However, in addition to providing me with the tools to create this web platform, this project has really prompted me to rethink how I define accessible theater. So I'll give an example. If you've ever attended a performance in a language you do not understand, perhaps an opera, you may have been presented with supertitles above the stage, and this helps to make the performance more accessible. However, the distance between the stage and the supertitles often prevents you from fully entering the world of the play. You are essentially reading a script while a play occurs in your periphery. And so, as I work with other artists to create digital short plays to host on this web platform, I'm also interested in thinking with them about how we can integrate those accessibility features, in this example, the subtitles, into the world of the play, not as an added layer, but rather as a meaningful structural device to shape the story. Could we make a play where each time a new character enters, the action pauses and other performers provide an image description, translating the character's actions and appearance into spoken text? Or could we make a play where text is simultaneously projected directly onto the action, perhaps on a large set piece or even on the characters themselves? You may be thinking of plays that already do these sorts of things. I suppose what I'm asking then is, rather than adding accessibility features onto a finished production, could we instead use our skills as theater makers to develop a poetics of accessibility, one that might transform both our art and our artistry? These are the questions that I'm eager to explore in the coming months. So, in conclusion, thank you for your investment this summer, and I look forward to sharing updates in the near future. But till then, be safe and be well.
Hi, my name is Roberto Soto, and I am here to talk about my Go Grant research project. So the project that I had proposed was based off of my thesis research in a play that I had been writing called A Pregnant Pause, an exploration of mental health and depression in Mexican American mothers. So what I had planned to use my Go Grant money for, and what I had proposed, was for cameras and recording equipment. We put up the production in the spring, but because we live in strange times and things are ever changing, I decided to use some of my time to research and be open to any sort of alternative routes for this play and this project, because who knows. And so I've dedicated a lot of time both researching new technologies, if we need to do remote performances from everyone's home or space, and also researching really interesting techniques for having a production with just being in a box. And so I put that money aside for cameras. We're constantly adapting. Listen, baby, it's 2020. We don't know what tomorrow looks like, so we just got to be open for all of it. A lot of my research with the production I'm currently working on has lended so much to me in my research for how I'm going to execute this project, and as well as my thesis research. While my research is on Mexican American mothers, in order to really grasp the circumstances and environment that these women came from, you need to go to the root. And so I think that this play and analyzing it is a general fundamental help in understanding where we come from and the certain ideas and stigmas that have stuck with and we've brought over into the United States, right? And so while I'm still analyzing, you know, the characters and how they're constructed and how they grieve, I'm also looking at the dialogue and the certain things they talk about, like this scene where we meet the mothers for the first time. One of them tells a story about this crazy woman who's running around the center of town, just boobs out, yelling, "What if God was one of us?" And it's played for laughs, and it is a very funny moment, but my brain just like looked at it and was like, but is she okay? Like, was the woman okay? Like, was she good? Like, did anyone check up on her? Did anyone take her to the doctor? Did anyone, like, help her out? One of the mothers says, like, I hope you didn't hang out with her. Which goes to show this distancing themselves from this mentally ill, obviously mentally ill, crazy woman. It's especially prominent in communities of color, in Black communities, and marginalized groups as a whole, where you come to this white supremacist patriarchal society that we call the United States of America. You have to prove that you're strong and that I'm hardworking. I don't have emotions. And I think this is especially prominent in the Mexican American community and the Mexican community as a whole, which is both based in the culture itself and this idea of hard work, but it's also based in a lack of resources. Where the play takes place, it's in Juarez, which is like right at the edge of the United States, and even there, no real resources to take care of one's health. And even if there were, that's for crazy people. This stigma of mental illness being the end of the world is ingrained in the culture, and it's worsened by a lack of resources. I've also been looking at it from a less personal perspective and a more technical and neurological perspective. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and reading some books about the neurology of depression and anxiety and how that is influenced by our growing up. And so not to like blame my mom for my mental health issues, but no, I'm just kidding. There is scientific evidence of like your priming and your upbringing and how much that affects how you behave and how your brain sort of makes connections. So not only is this affecting the women and the parents themselves, but it is affecting the kin thereon. You know, if you can't fix it in yourself, you're only going to pass it on. Generational trauma is a real thing. We're learning every day in neurology that through several stages of a human life, you'll go through different mental disorders. And so how is that abnormal? When we all go through it at different points in our life. People have anxiety at different points in their life. People have schizophrenic episodes at different points in their life. But the issue is not having them, and the issue is not talking about them. I have had advisors ask me, and I've asked myself, why are you doing it? Why is this important? Why this? Why now? Right? And, you know, especially over the summer where I was feeling very dejected about the work that I was doing. And I was like, what's the point? Like, the future is nothing, and everything's sad. Hearing the things seen as deficiencies can help enrich in the world really opened my mind to, like, the possibility of this project in the future. That hopefully I can do the work myself of providing resources for these communities and having these talks of like, you can use this negative energy to create others, or you can use it to just effing help yourself, right? And I think that is the point. You help me help other people, help other people, help them. I think there is a war on sensitivity and I think we should all really embrace those really tender parts of ourselves, and I am excited to see what this work is able to do for other people. Thank you so much.